We were very, I know I was taught by my parents and very diligent, go to, be a good worker, pay your bills on time, and be a good person. But understanding that a lot of the individuals that have built and built, that be able to build wealth, um, they pay themselves first. So, if anything, start with paying yourself first. And this is something I heard from other gurus as well. But before we talk about any companies and stocks and bonds and And we are back. We're back, everyone. And I just want to jump on here today, new week. And last week I was talking about basically just financial advice and mostly financial habits that we can kind of implement in our lives. And the new year is starting, so obviously most people are going to be saying, "I want to, make more money. I want to most likely change careers. I want to." Start my new business on the side. I want to do something in order to improve your financial, obviously, health, right? And first and foremost, do not forget, right? Let's not forget, one of the most important things that we kind of forget is your mindset and your health. We take it for granted many times. I know I've had for a lot of times, and I haven't realized it until after I, you know, have been in a position that I wasn't able to walk for a while. I had a surgery and I wasn't able to walk, and we take a lot of things for granted. So whenever I have a chance to able to do things that I take for granted, I try to do it. Like take certain walks, uh, go outside, play in the snow, do what we can do to have fun, and remember that it's a privilege, right? We can't take it for granted, and it can be taken away from us and any single day. But as far as going back to the financial literacy, our mindset has to be that we have to educate ourselves, and I'm trying to learn and trying to push that as well, because growing up in obviously in urban poor neighborhoods, where you grew up with parents that were just surviving and making something for themselves as well, coming from another country here to the United States. And I realized that a lot of us, not only myself, a lot of my friends too, whoever grew up in those neighborhoods, we weren't really taught financial literacy in a sense. We kind of were taught how to work hard, obviously be honest, learn from others, be respectful, be kind, right? Good work ethic. But then what, right? Then we have to kind of figure it out on our own. I know if I wish I would have, I can't say I wish because it happened, I'm here, but think about, if I had some type of a mentor or a leader, somebody teaching me kind of how to act differently as far as my finances, right? And how to treat certain things differently and how to educate myself a little bit better. How much further along I would be in my financial literacy at this age, in my mid 30s now, because obviously we know that time is very crucial when it comes to financial literacy. It's not really how much or like how little. It's mostly about how much time you have in your literacy, and whether it be in investing, whether it be in even a small business, even side hustles. With time, everything you put your time into, hopefully time equals experience, and it equals obviously much better returns. And that goes, I think, for anything in life, right? You put in the time, most of the things you do that you love, you're gonna get more experience, and then you can probably eventually, hopefully, make some type of rewards from whatever it is that you're putting your time in. So, if anything, sooner than later, you want to start with getting in as much education as you can as far as finances, personal finances, and not only just reading about it, because I read a lot about it as well. I would say maybe how many years ago? Let's say 8 years ago. But I didn't really implement a lot of the actions until I would say the last 4 or 5 years. I didn't implement the actual action because I felt like I didn't have enough funds, and the money wasn't there. So uh, it was probably there, but I was spending it on different things. So understanding that the sooner you start, the better. So even if you start learning and you start learning the principles, which is obviously putting some money away, saving, investing, and just being smart with your purchases. Um, any amount counts. So now we have. I know we were talking about apps like recently Robinhood and all these apps has been getting bashed because of what they've been doing lately. But these apps actually, although we thought they were for the good of the people, but they're giving access to a lot of young individuals like yourselves that at that age, I didn't have access to that because normally in order for you to invest, you had to have as far as in the stock market, you had to have money. I think the minimum deposit for any account would be like $5,000 or $10,000, depending on what company you were going to. And that was just to start off, and then you had to deposit a certain amount every month. And not, I don't think not every 20-year-old coming out of urban neighborhoods has that saved up. I mean, you're working minimum wage and you're going to college. It's kind of hard for you to come up with $5,000, $10,000 to open up an account. So now with all these apps that we have on our phones and how you can buy partial shares of companies, get started sooner. It helps a lot of us that want to get in the game, but might not have the full amount and don't have to have so much to start investing in these big time firms. And do your research as always. Like there's so much online nowadays. Like there is companies that have all the information online on Google. Simple Google, you can find out who you want to work with, who you want to put your money with, and who has the best returns. It has all the specs and rates you can read, and it's up to you. It's a personal choice. It's not really like, oh well, what's best, what's not. It's up to you. What are your goals and what are you trying to accomplish? But do your research and start. This is the beginning of the new year. The best time to start is now, obviously. But I want to stress how important it is because, especially if you're watching me and you're from the Latino community and you're from an urban community as well, and you grew up in obviously a poor neighborhood where it was mostly minorities and it wasn't really taught, it wasn't really pushed, it wasn't really even thought about because most people there we were just trying to survive. So investing was probably out of your mind because you were lucky if you were able to pay your bills every month. So imagine having to have extra money every month. That was like obviously a miracle, right? There's one trick that I will share with you, not trick, but I guess one concept and one method where I read earlier today as well, and Rich Dad Poor Dad, and also some of the other gurus that I watch here on YouTube, changing the way we handle our money, right? So instead of most of the time we were very, I know I was taught by my parents and very diligent, go to, be a good worker, pay your bills on time, and be a good person. But understanding that a lot of the individuals that be able to build wealth, they pay themselves first. So if anything, start with paying yourself first. And this is something I heard from other gurus as well. But before we talk about any companies and stocks and bonds and real estate, all these things, understand how starting with paying yourself first. And that can be as little as, $25 a week, $50 a week, $100 a month, whatever it is that you can do, but forcing that on yourself before you do everything else. So not the way that changed me was it kind of forces you to save for yourself, because you're paying yourself, but you're still taking it away from you. So if anything, you can open up a separate account. For me, the way I did it, I opened up a separate account that I didn't have access to unless I had to go to the bank. I didn't want a debit card. I didn't want nothing. I just wanted an account separate from me that was a small bank as well, that wasn't around me here in where I lived, that I actually had to go out of my way to get the money, make it a little bit harder. That can be online, but I can physically go and pull out the cash. So try to do that, separate account, and now you can do it obviously online. Transfer your amount on a weekly basis to that account and pay yourself first before you pay your bills. And then you allocate now your income towards your rent, utilities, food, gas, insurance, whatever it is that you have to pay every month, right? So when that pay raise comes, instead of putting all toward a new lifestyle and a higher and a more expensive lifestyle, take part of that and put it towards your paying yourself. So eventually, with the higher rates, well, higher bonuses, higher increases in your salary, your lifestyle is not going to take that much of a leap, but your paying yourself rate is going to start taking a bit of a leap. So eventually, you're going to be able to be putting away money for yourself that you never thought you would be able to do, because it's kind of automatic. And what might start up as $5 a week or $10 a week, if you start obviously ascending in your job or your career and your salary, whatever, if you get an extra $100 now a week in your income, you take 50 of that and add it every week to your paying yourself account. And then eventually, once you have your savings accounts, your emergency funds input, obviously in place, then you're eventually going to want to work towards your investing for that money. But I think the most common principle that I would teach myself, if I had to teach myself first, would be to, instead of paying my bills first and then seeing what I have left over, paying myself first and then paying everything else. And then if I didn't have enough money at the end of the month, I would have to figure out what I can cut from that month that I can cut back on. And most likely you're kind of flexible, right? You can maybe eat a little bit less out. Maybe not eat that one day, not go out for that night. Maybe get rid of some type of subscription for a couple of months. Maybe not drive that much. Maybe pay a little bit, not too much gas. These things you can kind of cut back on. But as far as paying yourself first, that is non-negotiable, because at the end of the day, it's on you. At the end of the day, 10, 15 years out, nobody's going to come and give you that money back, right? That's on you. Whatever you're making, make sure you kind of put away at least as much as you can. And again, I want to make it really clear. I know when I was paying my student loans and I was paying all of my credit card debt and student loans, I didn't have any at the end of the month. It was really hard for me to come up with some money. But just the concept of putting $5 away, or at least 5% of your income. So if it's 95% of your income is going towards your expenses, 5% towards your money, pay yourself first. It might not seem like a lot, but it works wonders, because it just gets you in that mindset of paying yourself first, and then that becomes just like a routine, and then eventually it's going to get obviously from 5% to 10% once you start paying off all your debt and you have less debt and less obligations. That money goes towards that. It becomes from 10, 15%, 20% of income might be going to your pay yourself first. I've met individuals that are very, very smart at this, and they've put away 40 to 50% of the income towards investing and saving, and they live off 50% of the income. Now, New York City is a very expensive city. It's not it's not as easy to live off half of your income, but I'm pretty sure there's people that do it and just make it work. So number one principle today, if you take away for today, for the money week that I'm continuing here, is pay yourself first. If you want to build wealth, you want to start investing and saving, learn how to pay yourself first before you pay everything else. And I promise you, it will just change your mindset. It will change the way you look at money. It will change the way how you even spend, because now you know that it's not all going to be spent. It's going to be some of that first goes to your account, and then you have to spend it. So now you're going to have less to work with when it comes to your lifestyle and doing things you want to do. Because a lot of times, let's be honest, we find very easy for us to find things to spend it on. And at the end of the month, to put away money becomes a lot more harder than we starting off with the concept of spending it, saving it first, paying yourself first, and then taking care of your bills and being a good citizen, as they call it, and being a great person, as my parents taught me. Work hard, pay your bills, and be a good person. But at the end of the day, that we know that if you work hard and you're a good person, it doesn't mean that when you're older or you retire or even when you lose your job, people are going to take care of you because you're a good person. And I learned that many times, right? People don't care if you're good or bad. Everybody has their own problems, so you got to take care of yourself in that department, so that when something happens, because life always has its way of throwing curveballs at you, you will be taken care of because of your due diligence. So please don't forget, all my young guys out there making great money right now, maybe working 2-3 jobs, 6 figures, living with their parents, or living maybe with a roommate, and having low expenses. Please put away some money for yourself. Pay yourself first. Start paying down your debt and focus on that. Focus on learning and investing and growing for yourself, because whatever it is you have right now, great income, great salary, whatever it may be, great side hustle, great investing, everything has its time. So just capitalize on it for now, and make the best of it right now. This way, when it does come to an end, or when it does change, the currents change as life does, you'll be able to be more diligent, more comfortable, making another move, or changing directions. So hopefully, invest in yourself, pay yourself first, and I'll see you next episode. Peace.